In this academic short film, I explore strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats of an indigenous-led organization through interviews with two key leaders, Finance and Research Director Margaret Lana and Director of Operations Lana Holinati. Their insights offer a grounded look into the internal and external realities of the organization. Can you introduce yourself and share your role with the organization?
Hello, my name is Margaret Lana. I am the matriarch of the All Nations Hope Network. I am also the Finance and Research Director. And I, Margaret Lana, consent to my audio recording being used for academic purposes. Me'etawin o ke Chatasquil, kind-hearted warrior woman. I have been with the All Nations Hope Network for 27 years. I started out as a coordinator, worked my way up to manager, to the executive director, then to the CEO. And when I left the organization to lead another national organization, I asked the board if I could create a matriarch council of 4 women to oversee the organization, and they would be the acting CEO, but each carry a director position, and my position is finance and research.
Can you introduce yourself and explain your role as Director of Operations?
Hi, my name is Lana Holinati. I'm one of the 4 matriarchs at All Nations Hope Network, and I also serve as the Director of Operations. I consent to this audio recording being used for academic purposes. I've been with All Nations Hope Network for 21 years, working in many different positions throughout my time here. In my role as the Director of Operations, I oversee the day-to-day functioning of our organization. My work is about ensuring our staff, programs, and internal systems are supported and running smoothly so that our team can focus fully on helping our community members in meaningful, culturally grounded ways.
What motivates you personally in the financial and research work you do?
I've always been good with numbers, and this is something that I have seen can tell the story of the work that the people are doing as a leader in the organization. I see all of the financial pieces. So right from the visioning for a budget for a proposal to the actual approval of finances that go through the organization, working with a accountant and an assistant, financial assistant. This is work that has flowed pretty smoothly through the organization in terms of the amount of hours that I put in. I am contracted as a matriarch, overseeing this area, ensuring that the finances and the research continue to move forward. There is a manager that I work with, a series of managers that I work beside. I oversee one of the managers, which is the program and research manager, and this is what I do in the organization. I'm also a visionary, so I look for new opportunities and look for people that can help write grants for the organization. So I've always liked numbers, and I always like when things add up, and I also always want to question why things are the way they are and to prove that they are working. So research fits nicely into the scope of the work that I do as a visionary, and one that is always seeking solutions for what we're faced with in terms of the work that I've been involved with.
What drives your work in managing the daily operations of the organization?
What drives me in this work is the desire to create a supportive, stable, and culturally safe environment for both staff and community members. When operations run well, frontline staff can focus on what matters most, building relationships, supporting people, and creating a sense of safety and belonging. Supporting staff so that they can support community is what keeps us motivated every single day.
How would you describe the financial health or stability of the organization?
As an ancestral scientist, I also practice and know and understand indigenous ways of knowing and doing. And that when we talk about an organization, the financial health or the stability of the All Nations Hope Network, this organization is a living entity. It's grounded in indigenous ways of knowing and doing. It practices ceremonies throughout the year. Before a proposal is written, it is taken to ceremony, and as it begins to unfold in the writing of it and all of that, it's done in ceremony, it's submitted in ceremony. So we ask the ancestors and the medicine to go before us and make a way for it. If this is work that Kisi Manito or the Creator wants us to do, then it will happen. And so this is the way forward in terms of looking at the financial stability and the health of the organization. We are asking our ancestors and the medicine to take full authority of providing what needs to be done in the community with the people as we seek that health and wellness. And in Cree, the word Miopamasawan means the good life. And that's what we ask for when we're praying. We're praying is the good life for the people once more on this land. So Indigenous ways of knowing and doing, ancestral science is very important in terms of the organization. I have worked in my past in a very colonial way, writing, hundreds of proposals and working my fingers to the bone in that manner, working that competitive role in terms of and not working in cooperation but working in competing for funding. And that was my early days, and it made me very sick, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And a few years back, I'd say in 2007, I woke up to an understanding that I was a Cree woman, that I had ancestors that were on this land since the beginning of time, and that there was a role and responsibility for me to lead the organization in a way that is going to make a difference, seeking those solutions through our ceremonies, seeking those solutions through visioning, seeking those solutions through the medicines, and asking the ancestors for help. So we see that as a way forward in terms of the health and the stability of an organization, which you wouldn't hear in a non-Indigenous organization, that we're always praying for good things, right? That Miopamasawan, good life, because we serve the people. And that's kind of the way, that focus that we have in terms of how we do the business of All Nations Hope Network.
What operational strengths help the organization function effectively?
One of our greatest operational strengths is the team's adaptability and willingness to step in whenever they're needed. Strong communication and shared commitment in our relationships with knowledge keepers and community partners help the organization function effectively. These connections keep us grounded in culture and guide us in our decision making in a good way. We also have several internal routines that work really well. Regular check-ins, team meetings, and clear communication between departments help keep everyone aligned. Our documentation, scheduling, and intake process have become strong and consistent. Our staff are responsive and supportive of one another, which makes a big difference, especially during stressful or high demand periods.
What financial strengths do you believe the organization has right now?
We are truly, All Nations Hope is a living entity. It's alive. We practice Wakotoan, which is kinship, meaning that we are related to everything, that everything is alive. Even the reports that we write are living documents. Our corporation registration is a living document. Our bylaws are living documents. Our visioning for the organization is a living document. everything's alive to us, and we honor that in ceremony and with the medicines. And that is the strength of our organization, in the fact that we believe that good things will happen for the people as we take things to ceremony, and we ask for that. And the financial strength is that we've had the same accountant for 27 years. I've worked alongside her for 27 years. The organization was incorporated in 2004. Prior to that, we were under the umbrella of a local AIDS organization, and we incorporated it in 2004 and became an autonomous indigenous organization, because we needed to access funding that's specifically for indigenous people, and we couldn't do that when we were under the umbrella of a non-indigenous organization. So right now that our strength is that we are indigenous, that we have incorporated, our bylaws state that, our mission, our mandate, all talk about this. And that is a strength for us on this land, because we are looking for the solutions that are grounded in indigenous ways of knowing and doing.
What do you believe is the strongest part of your operational team?
The strongest part of our operational team is their dedication to the community and to each other. They bring lived experience, compassion, and cultural knowledge into the workplace every day. That creates a foundation of trust and mutual respect, which is something you can't train into a system. It comes from the heart.
What operational challenges or inefficiencies do you face day to day?
Of course, like any organization, we do face challenges. High community demand, heavy workloads, limited staffing, and outdated processes can sometimes make day-to-day operations difficult. When many priorities arise at once, communication can become fragmented or delayed, which can create confusion or inefficiencies.
Are there capacity issues, staffing gaps, or resource shortages that impact operations?
Staffing gaps, funding limitations, and limited administrative support all impact how smoothly operations can run. These pressures can slow down our work and add strain to staff who are already navigating emotionally heavy support roles.
What opportunities exist for upgrading systems, technology, or daily processes?
Upgrading our technology, whether it's scheduling systems, communication tools, documentation processes, or data tracking, would make a huge difference. Streamlining workflows, updating equipment, and clarifying routines would help reduce burnout and improve efficiency.
How could technology, new tools, or training improve operations?
Training in digital systems, leadership, de-escalation, and cultural safety would also strengthen our operations and build the staff confidence.
What external factors affect your operations, like inflation, supply issues, policy changes, etc.?
External factors also influence our work. Rising costs, changes in policy, supply issues, and increased community needs all put pressure on our daily operations.
What external threats or pressures make your work more difficult?
Funding uncertainty and shifting political climates add another layer of challenge. Stigma around harm reduction and peer-led work can also create barriers that make our work harder.
If you could change or improve one major operational process tomorrow, what would it be?
If I could change just one major operational process tomorrow, I would focus on modernizing and streamlining our internal systems, especially around communication, documentation, and scheduling. A consistent, unified system would reduce confusion, ease workloads, and give our staff more time and energy to put into relational and cultural parts of their roles, which is ultimately what makes our work powerful.
What systems, research practices, or internal processes support your department's success?
It's so interesting because these are very colonial questions, and All Nations Hope operates in a ancestral way from the universe. We don't look at the universities, we look at the universe in terms of what our success is. And so by having seasonal pipe ceremonies, by having moon ceremonies, by having sweat lodges on a regular basis, we are making sure that we are following our own processes within our own systems and our own practices of research from the universe. And this is something that we look highly on in terms of directives when we're asking for success, for good things for the people. And, our ancestors have been doing research since the beginning of time. We had our own systems set up on this land, and one of the systems we're following is matriarchs. And this is guiding and leading the All Nations Hope Network into success for the people. And we're developing our own processes in terms of how we look at the organization and how we're overseeing the work of the staff, the managers, the council members. So our whole structure that we've created is, if we were to look at it, we have the matriarchs who are at the center. Then the outer circle is the manager, or the council of the organization. These are managers and some directors. Then the outer circle is all of the coordinators and the workers that do the work. Then the very outer circle is the people we serve. So we're a member-driven organization. We believe that we serve the people, and we want to know how that looks in terms of our success and how we have internal processes.
What financial or resource limitations create challenges for the organization?
So we're always operating in a colonial process with the government of Canada, the government of Saskatchewan, or the municipal government, which is Regina. They have different hoops that you have to jump through to be part of their funding scheme. And, there's different reports we have to generate. There's different hoops we have to jump through to be eligible for funding. And sometimes these don't line up with our knowings from our ancestors. And so it's kind of interesting as we move forward to understand that. And it does create challenges for All Nations Hope in terms of wanting to move forward in our own knowings as those that come from the universe, from our ancestors, and some of the ancestral science that we practice, when we have to also put all of our writings into the Western science. And that's, Western science, the government thinks Western science is the only way that they will fund. But when we start talking about ancestral science, that's so important. It's harder to get funding for our ancestral science than it is for Western science. So changing the story is important for us, and it is a challenge for our organization. They want to know, they always want to know, how are you proving what you did worked, and in terms of the healing and the wellness of the people that we serve. So that's been a challenge for us. And so we've been able to be creative in terms of how we're offering that.
Are there research gaps or missing data that make decision-making more difficult?
I would say that, some of our ancestral science that we're offering the people, it is definitely, there is gaps or missing data. When funding bodies are believing only in Western science, it makes it hard for us to bring in our ancestral science. And for us, one of our ways is that we don't have to prove what we're doing. It just happens. It's there. We don't need proof. The medicines that we bring to life for the people, we take those medicines into ceremony, and we ask them to do specifically what is needed for that person, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And you can't bottle that and sell it in a pharmacy. This is a very unique relationship we have as ancestral scientists with the plants that we're asking to do this work. And the way and the process that we bring these plants and ask them to do what needs to get done is very unique. It can't be done by non-Indigenous people. And as much as they would try to bottle it and sell it, they can't. And so it's interesting when you see non-Indigenous people trying to do our ceremonies or trying to to ask the medicine to do work. So I find that interesting, and and we don't have to prove anything. We just know it works, and we're not we don't have minds like that. We don't work from our minds, we work from our hearts. And so we know it works, and we believe it works, and so it works. And sometimes research would call that a gap or missing data, but it's not for them to know. And it's not for us to know. We just know it works. And sometimes it's hard for somebody who's driven by their mind, that they have all the answers in their mind, that they're the ones, that university education is overseeing what you learn in university. You have to unlearn when you're an ancestral scientist. You can't work the same things the same way. It's much different. And that creates gaps or missing data in decision making, making it more difficult for All Nations Hope Network when we have our own ancestral science, and when the funders or other research don't believe in what we're doing. It's not for them to believe. It's for us and the people we serve to believe. And it happens, and it's there.
What opportunities exist for new funding, grants, partnerships, or research collaborations?
This work is always ongoing. As matriarchs, we're all responsible for this, to build those, to look for new funding, to grants, partnerships, or collaborations. It's all part of our work, and it's important because we need to help each other to be able to bring those solutions to life. Right along ancestral science, we can bring Western science and work hand in hand. A good example of that is the new treatment for HIV. So there is an injection you can take once a month or once every 2 months. And if we're looking at a population right now of people who are actively using drugs to deal with their intergenerational trauma or their trauma, and they're continually using, and so they're really sporadic in terms of taking medication. If they have HIV and they come into our outreach place, and they are coming to use the phone, the bathroom, or something to eat, or meet other people looking for their drug of choice, then we can offer them their injection once a month. And that would make them undetectable for HIV, so they would not be able to pass it on to anybody. They would be undetectable. And if you look at the concept of U equals U, this is a drive, undetectable, you'll have to look it up, U equals U, the campaign across the land around that being undetectable, untransmittable. So partners, opportunities, that's all there, consistent. We're always doing that. As the first peoples of this land, we're related to everybody. So, we're always looking for that relationship in that building for all of those areas.
What financial risk or external pressures concern you the most?
When colonial institutions, systems, agencies interfere with our work as the first peoples of this land, when they come in and try and save us using their colonial ways, when we know very well that these ways don't work, because if they worked, we would be well. And so we're looking at different opportunities, different ways of making sure that we are in full force in terms of identifying our own needs that have to be done. And so that concerns me the most, when the colonial structures try to reach in and control or oversee All Nations Hope Network and tell us what to do and how to do it. I'll say again, if it worked, we would be well. It's not working.
How do shifts in policy, funding, or government support impact your work?
This is interesting because for me, as an ancestral scientist, I don't put all my hope in policy or funding or government support. Even when we get a project approved or a proposal approved, we give thanks to the ancestors and to the medicine that went before and made a way for it to be approved. It's not because we're the best proposal writers in the world. It's not that, or we have really good relationship with a government or a funder. It's because the medicine the ancestors went before, we asked for it. And if it was a good thing for the people we serve, then it'll happen. And so those are things that I think about in terms of that question. There is no impact. They have no impact on us. We say that our ancestors, and we work in a universe. We don't work in the universities in that manner. We work in a universe. And that's what makes things happen. That's what supports the work that we do. And we're making an impact in the populations that we serve.
Where do you see the greatest opportunity for financial growth or stability in the future?
To continue to build our young people up to take over the roles that we started at the All Nations Hope Network. So as matriarchs, we've all been there, 15 to 27 years we've been there, each of us, in our own standing. I've been there for 27 years. And at this point, we're mentoring younger women to take our role, because one day we won't be there, and somebody has to take the role of the matriarchs to continue that. We're leaving a legacy on this land for not only All Nations Hope Network, but for other indigenous communities to follow, because we had matriarch societies on this land before the colonizers came here. And we need to bring those societies back, because we need to look at the future for the ones to come. My grandmother talks about you have to look 7 generations ahead, because 7 generations back somebody thought about me and put me to where I am today in this position and doing this work. So the matriarch societies have to grow. We have to give that, bring that back to the land, so that we can see us, our communities, our nations, our families, begin to bring those solutions to life. And we are a people that need a lot of work to come back to our own rights, our rights of passage, our rights to the land, our rights to the medicine, to the food, to the water, to all of that. Our rights to ceremony, to language, all of those have to come back, and it's matriarch societies that will do that work. So for financial growth or stability in the future, this is the direction that All Nations Hope Network is going, to build up our youth, to take over those roles, to get degrees from the universe and from the universities, and to see them leading organizations and systems and institutions that are grounded in our indigenous ways of knowing and doing. Our young people are the ones we want to see.
Thank you to Margaret and Lana for sharing their insights. The responses form the core of this SWOT analysis, offering a grounded look at the organization's strengths, challenges, and future direction.
Naskaman for listening today. Me tawin okay chitaskoyo.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my experiences and to highlight the strengths and challenges of our operations at All Nations Hope Network.